Finnegans Wake, Book 4, The Conclusion. Sandias, 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 calling all downs to Dane. Array, surrection, ire weaker to the world-blooding world. All rally, flanks to your rally. To what life-like tine of the bird can be? Seek you so many matters. Hey, see east to Oceania. Here, tas, pat, staff, wolf, half, loaf, and butter. The smog is lofting, and already the alderman has gotten up on other times to litinate the bottomers. Son fine, some fiend avant, good morning, have yours views pierced up? 10 years agone we have used yours up, since when we have used no harther. Calling our Danes to dawn. The old breeding brads did culmin worth of natures to find McHooligan, the leader, securest jubilans albus termamorn. Cloggin, slogan, quake up dim dusky, woke dumb for husky, and let Billy Fagan be ballad out of his humiliation. Confidential to churchin, we have highest gratifications in announcing to pewter publicums of practition pretty users, Genghis is gone for you. A hand from the cloud emerges, holding a chart expanded. The ever-sower of the seeds of light to the cold old showers that are in the dormitory of death Mutt after the night of the carrying of the word of Noah's and the night of their making maize to cuddle up in a coddle pot. Punu set, Lord of risings in the yonder world of Natamplin, triumphant, speaketh. Va, Sulharn, sir! Scatter brand to the renewaler of the sky, thou who ignitest, da! Arctur is coming, be! Verbum principiant through the transitive spaces. Kilt by Celt shall kith again with kin again. We elect for thee, third angel, Savaicia salve, we Durbalanners, three ajor, away the margin, from our astamite through dimdom done, till light kindling light has led we hopus, but hunt me the journeyman, itinerant, the call his course amid the cemetery of Somnionia, even unto Heliotropolis, the castellated, the enchanting. Now if someone felch to twirl, and someone else's warm at water we could, while you was saying Margaret Mary or Smud Brunt and Robinson, make sun like syrup bomb this warful Duns baton. Yet clarify begins at whither the spot for, whence the hour by, see but, lever home, take in. Trespassers should be persecuted. Qui stabat mains, quantum qui stabat pains. As of yours, we anew, our shades of minglings mingle them, and help horizons. A flash and crash it shall come to pass, as hearth by hearth leaps live. For the tenderest stock with the rosinest top, Achlin hills, Club Humber, in general stores, and Atria throughwards, Luth the brothwhacker will be the listened after, and he larruping sparks out of his tiny ones. the spear spit of dawn fire to touch his ain the table stone at the centre of the great circle of the macroliths of Hellas Bellis in the boshim and brush on this our peneplain by Fangaluva bite, whence the horned cairns urge, stancer standed to fraud and frown, idols of Isthmians, over where gaunt grey ghostly gossips growing grubber in the glow, past snal pulls, cur one beast, even Dane the Great, made treads pass with sniffer the snout in pursuant to bylegs. Eaters choco humoristic, but why pit the cur afore the knocks? Let's sure they're doing Gallus Han, and she, ho, the Sasquehenna, makes ducks runs at crooked. Once for the chanter male, twice for the pother, and once twice thrice for the waither. So in an elbow yellow me turns out the invasible block. What serves to rob with Allyman, sailor? A turnkey trot to Sea Point, Piero Tits means Noel's Bard, and Jules Punch, by George. If you've tipper taps in your head or starting curses Taylor, you're silenced at Henkeology's ex-smooth Astbees for Ost boys, each and one. Death banes and the quick woke, but life wends and the dome spake. Wake, hill of Hafid, knock a sack, gives relief to the landscape as he stretches his Loma song a Toopin gazelle channel. And the bride of the brain, Shin High Shake, is daughter than ever for a damps wed her farther. Lamble on the up, we may pleasantly heal geography's 29 ways to say good bet and wassing see us soon live. With the 40 wonks winking, please me or much as two, with her top. It's a long, long ray to New Erglin's premiere. For a corpse, for streamfish, for convex, for bouillons, for smear sausage, for patates, for staked pig, for man, for limericks, for waterfowls, for wags, fools, for louts, for cold airs, for late trams, for curries, for curries, for leekses, for orphelings, for tunny gals, for clear gold ways, for long fortes, for moony haunts, for fairy monies, for coffins, for tantrums, for armours, for waglugs, for rogues comings, for sly goings, for larksmiths and homs meets, for quails meets killalooly. Come lead Cromlech, top. Wisely for us, old Broughton has withdrawn his theory. We are absolutely rot. Namintane, sure it's not raving your. Am slow, good also. We seem to understand Apad Burum Tom's monument, Arensdoka. Among horseshoes, charioteers, and exetragenous bargain bout taparos, offering under since, even if for although, in double preposition as in triple conjunction, how the modern research in the topaya that was Mankelands has gone to prove from the Picalava present in the Mara Melma that while a successive generation has been in the deeps of deeper eras, buried hearts rest here. Conquer do, kill do, swap. So let him slap the sap, till they take down the shatter from his shop. He can ease Phil Stap. Thus Faraclax the friar bird, listening, Sid. The child, a natural child, the known by the names of Would-be was kidnapped at an age of recent, probably, possibly remoter, or he conjured himself from sight by sleight at hand, for which the theatron is a lemonarch at milch got thermos in full dogtis sad on a fall pat. The hundering, blundering, dunder funder of plunder sundered manhood. Behold, he returns, renaisscent, fin-carnate, still foretold around the hearthside. At matin, a fact, hailed chimers erskine, faux permanent, foam in his mow, a white wave resurging into crest, victus poenis hesterness, false faith of solace, fram choicest of wiles with warmin and sogans till banba, burial arranging. Under Articles 39 of the Reconstitution, by the Lord's order of the canon consecrandable, earth lost that, we thought him, pester nost, the none-known warrior. From Tombarumba mountain, in presence of whole landslots, forib all the Rassias, sire of Leary sobs of Dob, the Diggins wooden hinge, as the hangout at, with Spanish old fool his angelach, the Sassenue, nomo sol fidos salamaranda mormin. The big bruiser Fertinfort, gunner, the gunnings gunned. One of the 2 or 3, 4 fivest fellows a bloke could in a holiday crowd encounter, benedicted be the barrow. Kilderkin's lids off, a rouch, an oxmaster, a sort of heaps, a Pamphilius, a vinti vat niviceni, a hygienic contrivance so-called from the editor, the thick of your thigh, you knocks, quite, talking to the vicar's joy and ruth, the grin, wide and gloob and broken by the Maybole guards. He, when no crane in Elga is heard, about to speak this lay, without links, without impediments, with gigantogogyres, with free flaw forms, paradisama to himself, at man as evers, whom otherwise becauses, no purer as of old, but as a young a palatin. Whitelock not lacked, nor tempera solian, though he appears a funny colour, stotersome, but quite a big bog after the dahlias. Place inspectorum sergeant, also the holocist excavement, astronomically fabula figured, as jumbled and vispa, vipra foresaw of him. The last half versicle repurchasing his pond word, sore and split and paddy patched, and for to finish our fun of a fan calling the Kettle McWhite. Sure, straight, slim, sturdy, serene, synthetical, swift. By the anter of Yasses, Roos made him worthily achieve inherited wish. The drops upon that mantle rained never around Fingal. Gout, Lachlan salts, will make a new min, if any worn. So, Lamfadar's arm, it has cool coincidences. You mean to see we have been having a sound night's sleep? You may so. It is just about to roly-holy over, swap-na swap, of all the stranger things that ever, not even in the 100 and badst
pageants of 1,000 and once nice or in eddas and odds box of tone, dyke and hollow, to be have happened. The contrarieties of life's living being the one substance of a stream's becoming. Told and told, telled and telled, told and tittle tell tattle. Why? Because grace be gad in all giddy gadgets, in whose words were the beginnings. There are two signs to turn to, the yest and the ist, the right side and the wrong side, feeling a slip and walking up, so on, so forth. Why? On the sword side we have the moskiest gin palace, with its twin adjacencies, the bathhouse and the bazaar, ala hala la. And on the sponthe side it is the alcoven and the rose garden, bony naughty, all poor puthry. Why? One's heard a puss a story about bread and break feeds, and para combating and couch coucha, but others is of tolls and outworn buyings, dolings and chafferings and heat, contest and enmity. Why? Every talk has his stay, vidness shaver San Giovanna, and all the dreams perhapsing under Loch Sloop at last are through. Why? It is a sort of a swig-swag, systemy-distemy, which ever a body you ever anywhere at all does. Why? Such me. And helps a drowsy lock, a shaft of chivalry in the act, and a lancet, called sleuth, viands. Where did thoughts come from? It is infinitesimally fevers, resty fever, risy fever, a coronto of area, sleeper awakening, in the small of one's back presentiment, gip and again gape, a flash from a future and of maybe mahamayability, through the winder of a wander in a wilder is a welter, as a warble of a warble is a world. Tom. It is perfect degrees Excelsius, a Jaladeo still stilleth, cloud lay but mackerel are, anemone activiscent, the temperature is returning to mourner. Humid nature is feeling itself freely at ease with all the fresco. The vervain is to herald as the grass administers. They say, in effect, they really say, you have eaten fruit? Say, what? You have snacked me the fish? Tell a wish. Every those personal placed objects, if non things wheresoevers, and they just done been doing being in a duomo of todos without and a bound to be your trowers. Forswindled, you hauled him by the top of the tang. Not a salutary syllable sound is since. Instead for austere, adrift with a draught. Noctumbolumbumus, wander words the nil. Victorious Neanzus, Albertus Neantus. It was a long, very long, a dark, very dark, and all burnt unend, scarce endurable, and we could add mostly quite various in somewhat stumble-tumbling night. Endy he sendy, Dio. Thee has gone and yet gone, thee is coming to come. Greetings to Gastern, high to morning. Dormini destiny, doom is the fest. Where down, good other. Now day, slow day, from delicate to divine divesses. Padma, brighter and sweetster, this flower that bells, it is our hour of risings. Tickle, tickle, lotus spray, till here next, adieu. Take thanks, thankstum, Thomas, in that European end meets end. There is something supernocturnal about whatever you called him it. Pan Pan and Vin Vin are not alone at Van Van and Pin Pin in your Tamal without tears, but simply solely they are they. This other fellow is that other fellow. Him, Kim, Kim, Kim. Old yeaster loaves may be as stale as a stub, but the picture go to aftums on the wall. Mildew, murk, leak, and yarn now want the bad that they lied on. And your last words to date in comparative acoustomology are going to tell stretch of a fancy through strength towards joyance. Adjutants, where he gets up. Allay for allay, a threat for a throat. Tim. To them in east at Loca, hearing. The orbit orbs, thens now with nows then intense continuant, heard. Who having has, he shall have had, here. Upon the thud's trox truck chim, it will be exactly so fewer hours by so many minutes of the ope of the diurn, of the senite, of the minute, of the year, of the age, of the Madam Vantora, of Groskay and Little Lady, our Hugibus, and our wee mother, Actum and Archdruid, and their childer, and their neighbours, and their neighbours' childers' neighbours, and their chattels, and their servants, and their cognants, and their ilks, and their orts, and their everythings that is, be, will, was theirs. Much obliged. Time o' they, but worth, O clerk, with Rocklonk, Vartsman. See you not so the fath they funded, our avatars that are in Himmel? Harwood, Bath, or Namus, the Gow, the Styre, the Tagara, the Leophant, when even thirst with ather vitals, mid trefoils slipped the sable rampant, hoof, 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 pada, pudding, on fata, foot. Here we are, signifying, it tongues may token that, primeval conditions having gradually receded, but nevertheless, the emplacement of solid and fluid having to a great extent persisted through intermittences of solemn fulminance, solemn nuptialism, solemn sepulture, and providential divining, making possible and even inevitable, after his a time has a tense haves and have-nots has a tendency, at the place and period under consideration, a socially organic entity of a millenary, military, maritory, monetary, morphological circumformation in a more or less settled state of economic equilibrium. Come on, George, no more for me. Let's not be Angardman's Lake. You just got a touch of army on the stomach. To the anchor at anchor. Aquating seaworthy. Lots thank you for polite pointsins. There's a tavern in the tarn. Tip. Take Tamatimo's topical. Tip. Brown yet Noland. Tip. Advert. Where?
Cumulon ubula seron imbant, heaven electing. The dart of desire has gored the heart of secret waters, and the popularest wood in the entire district is being grown at present, eminently adapted for the requirements of pacnin-stricken humanity. And between all the goings up and the whole of the comings down, and the fog of the cloud in which we toil, and the cloud of the fog under which we labor, bomb the things to be dome about it, so that, beyond indicating the locality, it is felt that one cannot with advantage add a very great deal to the aforegoing by what, such as it is to be, follows. Just mentioning, however, that the old man of the sea and the old woman of the sky, if they don't say nothings about it, they don't tell us lie. The gist of the pantomime. From Cannibal King to the property horse, being slumply and slopely to remind us how, in this dreary world of ours, Father Times and Mother Spacies boil their kettle with their crutch, which every lad and lass in the lane knows. Hence, Polycarp Pool, the pool of Inalavia, Saras the Saftas, of Mudery Marge, atween Deltas Piscium and Sagittariastrian, wherein once we laved his Alvan Val, Minnie Hahing here from Hare Wather, a pottle bridges in the Passabed, the river of lives, the regenerations of the incarnations of the emanations of the apparentations of fun and nin in Cleathabala, the congdomain of the alieni, the accorsard race, infester of Libnod ocean. Moila more let it be, where all brought the answer, tracking vignette means, see glad sighted her, Linfian fall in the team digging harrow, turn the first sod, sluice, cataract, good speed the blow. Incidentally, 'tis believed that his harpened before a gauge is vain, for it has to be over this booty spatch, though some hours to the wester, that ex-colonel house's preter post heiress is to return unto the outstretchedst of Dwyer O'Michael's loin sprung the blunster busted pikehead, which he had hewn in hare's prolonged laughter words. There an elm tree begins to green, soaring scene for love's sake. As we know that should she for by essentience's law, so it make all. It is sainted to Vitterball, and her little white bloomkins, twittersky trimmed, are hobgoblins hanky-panks, Saxons like our ancestors, thought so dearly on now, they're going so ever to Angerson, free of duties, dirt shapes. There too a slobs, immemorial, the only in all swamp, but so bare, so boulder brag, sagging such a boom show, that, of Badindens the White Alfred, it ought to have at least some butch-ups operin'. Homo circus Leniensis, his show place at Liamby, old womany wise, fifth, but while gleam with gloom swan here and there, this shame rock and that wispy planter tell Pauline steer the pogue, and his purty Molly Vardant, in good broom Irish, arrah, this place is a proper, and his feist a ferial, for curd no communal, so be who would celebrate the holy mystery upon, or that the pilgrim from many lands beaten, the calm-leaved hot-caged, that by that look whose gloam is sure he means Bis's angels,
to embalm over. A naked yog priest, clothed of sundust, his oaky doked with frondest leaves, offering to the eon of her own, tasium cori salia creum. Pfaff. Bring about it to be brought about, and it will be Loc, our lake lamented. That great lack, the city of is issuant at last, urban and orbo, through seep from umber under wasters of airy. Love, woe, why, there maidens, Archdruid's assay, earth's eye to his heaven, here's angels, the daughters of the cliffs responsin'. Longsome the samphire coast, from thee to thee, thou art it thou, that thou is there, the like the near, the liker near, oh, so say, a family, a band, a school, a clan of girls, 5 times and but 4 times, by novanas and or vantads, by octets, aye, and decadentacentats, by a lunary with the last alone, whose every has her different from the similes with her sight, sicit companumule, petafe ferentes, they coral and coral round Botany Bay, a dweam of those innocent dirty dirs, Kevin, and they all set in voices about sing music was Kevin, he, only he, it'll he, the whole clangalede, oh, es Wilhelminas, es Gardenias, es Fibias, es Vestandruas, es Clarindas, es Semeculas, es Dolores, Delphins, es Perlatroas, es Adens Gays, es Adaminivius, es Rhodaminas, es Ruadagaras, es Trimicomtrus, es Universities, es Mintagisias, es Bichalavarses, es Churstris, es Clonasciums, es Bellavistores, es Santamontes, es Rings and Gronsons, es Heredendreds, es Glacianivius, es Wade Frieders, es Thomas Abesis, and Trema Unloud Pebet, es Loelis Otoels. Prayfulness, yo, that is your what shall one name it? The maiden oaks have ting togethering, ascend out of your bed cavern of a trunk, and shrine Kathleen's is kitchen, sores cast my brawn. You must exterre aquarete to interrogate all the archipelagans, the Australoger, Wallaby by Toland, who forshook our showers from Newer Island, by sign the you and the now our mandate, Melanesia waits, Bismarck. One seekings, not the lithe slender, not the broad roundish near the lithe slender, not the fair size full-featured to the leeward of the broad roundish, but indeed and in need, the curling, perfect portioned, flower-fleckled, shapely, high-hued, delicate features swaying to the windward of the fair-sized, full-featured. Was that in the air about when something is to be said for it, or is it someone in particular who will summer wear eyes for the whole anyhow? What those came in, tell his hidings clearly, O wood to gutter. Is his moral tact still his best of weapons? How about a little more gold and good? Rowland's tongue he gather no must. It is the voice of Roga, his fact is the face of a son. Be thine the silent hall, O Jarama. A virgin, the one, shall mourn thee. Roga's stream is silent, but Cruna is in the distance. The ass of the O'Dwyer of Gleiglands is about to base a field in his terrors of the Potterton's four coroners, the reeks around the burly hearth, when visited by an independent reporter, Mike Portland. To burrow burning the Latterman's restaurant, so is called the Gorton Inquester. He mikes the following for the Durban Gazette, first coming issue from a correspondent anywhere. Deemsday, boss of upper and lower bigots trade. Sayawarik, may he live forever. The game's funeral at Valley Temple, Saturnight's pomps, exhibiting that caricature of a horse revealed by Oscar Camarade. The last of Dutch shoods per humps, piping and dream cruise, uncovers pub history, the outrage at length, affected mob follows and religious Sullivans, reinvention of vestiges by which they drugged the body. Movie figure on in scenic section by Patathicus. And there, from out of the scuity misty London, along the Canavan road, that is with the years gone, mild beam of the wave his polar bearing, steerner mong the stars, trust Tauthina, and you tread through turf. Comes the sorter, Mr. Herr Hansen, talking all the ways in himself of his hopes to fall in among a merry fowl of maidens, happing home from the dance, his nickel already in his Nazi fab, a passable compatriot properly of the Grimstad galleon, old pairs phrase, feed up to the Noxer with their geese and peas and oats upon a trencher, and the times he lost in wombing, but with that smule like a grace of beckoning over his egg lips of the sunshine. Here's hearing you in a gas mask, Latterman, and such an improvement, as right as the male and as fat as a fuddle. Shown the post. A penny for your thoughts about. Tay, tibby, tanny, tummy, tasty, toasty, tay. Batches for baker who baksters our bread. Oh, what an ovenly odour. Butter, butter, bring us this day our melly bag. But receive me, my friend sheets, from the emerald dark winter long. For this is the dos for Eider Downs, and das is it thus as singing singers. What the hard-working, straight-walking, stout-stamping, securely sealing officials who trow to form our GMP past muster, generally shay for she, and slew for slee, when butting their head to the pillow for a night shared makeshift with the altar girl they tuck in for sweepsake. Dutiful Wilker for his hides of March, haves you the time? Hands a hike? Heard you the crime, Senny boy? That man was giddy on letties on the duty of the dowry, by persuaded weather with entrenuous, midgeries, dagos, tea times, shadows, nocturnes or Samoans, if well-stocked filler-outers, plush fever frouse with dopey chunks, and this, that, and the other pigskin or muffle kinkles, taking a pipe course or doing an anguish, seen to his fleece in after his fowl, when Dr. Chart of Great Chorlesall Street, he changed his backbone at the sitting. He had not the declination, as what with the fools, as wet with the fays, but so far it is hanging a goobs on the proceedings, where then the lag allows, it might be anything after darks, which the dears alone they sees, and the darkies they is snuffing of the wind up, debiling, greantiavents, hyacinths and heliotrops, not once full vixing freakings, and but double decoys. It is a liable action on the ports of the Catholic Church, and summon must atoll for it. Where is that blankety-blanketer, that quand of a peeler, that sunt of a hunt want foxes, good men? Where or he are loved among many? But was does Kinging, the fostered, Tyro atore, the novine iconostes of his bluey-grained vitrios, but begins in faint to light his legend. Let phosphorin proclaim, Peachy, peachy, say he that saw him that saw, man shall sharp run do aget him. Ask no more, Jerry mine, Roga's voice, no pace surka batcha. The bog which puckerooed the posy, the vine branch of Heramon Heber, on Bregia's plain where Tethia lies, is leaved invert and fructed proper, but the cobblick hatches end not open yet for the hourly rinser's mass. Reed Higgins cairns in Egan. Malthus is yet locked in close within. How swayed there and Sir Alcove makes therein. Besoakers loiter on, and prima libatory solaceates of Lyman sodias will be absorbable. It is not even yet the engine of the load, with held mories full of crates. You matin mummer for dumbbell dums, sure and 'tis not then. The Greek cider o' Ruthway, as it haven't, will soon be starting a smooth with its first single Hassencraft. Danny buzzers instead of the violet-coloured milk train on the Fortiket plan run with its endless galaxian of rotor-rattlers and the smooth troon of elderins. Remember as the scream of the service strawberry bess. Also the wagon wobblers are still to ever due to precipitate after a night's combustion. Aspect, Seamus Ragua, or Taciate, and Hagiographies Canat Ecclesia, which Aubrey our first shall show. In attendance who is will play. That's what's that to what's that. What? Oh yes, yeses. The primates of the Gauls, proto-notorious, I am as I am, mitro generand, in the free state on the air, is now a boil to blow a gale warning. In operation Airlands Iot, Magnesia habitat, and the 1,000 incels, western and eastern approaches of Kevin, of increate God the servant, of the Lord Creator a filial fearer, who given to the growing grass took to the tall timber, slippery Dick the stringy healer. As we have seen, so we have heard, what we have received, that we have transmitted. Thus we shall hope, this we shall pray, till, in the search for love of knowledge, through the comprehension of the unity and altruism through stupefaction, it may again, how it may again, shearing aside the four weathers and passing over the dainty daily dairy and dropping by the way of the lapful of live coals and smoothing out Nelly Nettle and her lad of metal,
full of stings, fond of stones, friend of Union's bones, and leaving all the messy to look after our douche. The miracles, death, and life are these. Yet, procreated on the ultimate easeland of Ireland in the encyclical Irish archipelago, come their feast the pre-created holy white-clad angels, home among the christener of his, voluntarily poor Kevin, having been granted the privilege of a priest post-created portable alter cum balneo, when espousing the one true cross, invented and exalted in celibate matrimony, at matin chime arose, and west from went and came in alb of cloth of gold, to our midmost Glandelaw levert by archangelical guidance, where a middle of meeting waters of river Isia and Essia, river on this one of ether's lone navigable lake piously, Kevin, lauding the triune Trishadian, amidships of his conducible altar superbath, rafted centripetally, diaconal servant of orders Hibernian, midway across the subject lake surface to its supreme epicentric lake isle, whereof its lake is the ventrifugal principality, whereon by prime, powerful in knowledge, Kevin came to where its centre is among the circumfluent watercourses of Ishgafiana and Ishgafiona, and an isled lakelet, Islanding a lacustrine islet, whereupon, with beached raft, subdiaconal bath, propter altar, with oil extremely anointed, accompanied by prayer, holy Kevin, bided till the third morn hour, but to build a rubric penitential honey beehive hut, in whose enclosure to live in fortitude, acolyte of cardinal virtues, whereof the arenary floor, most holy Kevin, excavated as deep as to the depth of a seventh part of 1 full fathom, which excavated, venerable Kevin, anchorite, taking counsel, proceeded towards the lake side of the islet shore, whereat 7 several times he, eastward genuflecting, in entire obedience, at sext noon collected Gregorian waters 7-fold, and with Ambrosian Eucharistic joy of heart, as many times receded, carrying that privileged altar una comque bath, which severally 7 times into the cavity excavated, elector of water levels, most venerable Kevin, then effused thereby letting there be water, where was theretofore dry land, by him so concreated, who now confirmed a strong and perfect Christian, blessed Kevin, exercised his holy sister water, perpetually chaste, so that, well understanding, she should fill to mid-height his tubbathatalter, his hand-bathtub, most blessed Kevin, ninthly enthroned, in the concentric centre of the translated water, where amid, when violet vesper veiled, Saint Kevin, Hydrophilos, having girded his sable capa magna, as high as to his cherubical loins, at solemn compline sat in his seat of wisdom, that hand bathtub, wherever after recreated doctor insularis of the universal church, keeper of the door of meditation, memory extempore, proposing an intellect formally considering, recluse, he meditated continuously with seraphic ardor the primal sacrament of baptism,
or the regeneration of all man by effusion of water. Ye, bishops, bevel to rocks, right, Sarver boy, extinguish, nuat in bene. The rare view from the three bends under the bald heaven is on the other end, asking your bliksome on dimming and blasting something to write home about. They were erected in a pervious century as a hen find coops, and, if you know your Bristol and have trudged the trolley ways and elven turns of that old cobbled city, you will sort of officially scribble a mental penny-knock score. Whether they were Franklings by name also has not been fully probed. Their design is a woe-sold word, and the charming details of light and dark are fresh from the familiarity which breathes content. O ferax copla, fairy pair! The first explorer to make his ablutions in these parks was indeed that lucky mortal which that monster trial showed on its first day out. What will not archy paper, anti-sidingly inked with penmark push, per sample prof, covertly faulted, when style, stink and stigma tapheron are of one sum in the same person. He comes out of the soil very well, after all, just where old Toffler is to come shuffling along soon's Panaquane starts, showing off her peculiar talents. Away wrong wanderer circling to the right route for his plain utterrock sooks, appelled to by her fancy clarigs. You plied that poker game, see, swell as I did, while there were flickers to the floors. He may be Humpty, nay, he may be Dumpty, but there is always something racy about, say, a sailor on a horse. As soon as we sail him geen, we gates a surprise. He brings up Toffa Tuffa, and that is how we get to Missus and Masses, the old Merino tale. We veriters verity naughty few demmed lusters priorly magistrate maximolient in laudability learned. Facts. Take off that wise head. Great sinner, good sonner, is in effect the motto of the Macowell family. The gloved fist, scrim sansker, was introduced into their sacerdotal tree before the 4th of the 12th, and it is even a little odd, all four horologeries still gonging restage, Jacob van der Bethel, smoking behind his pipe, with Esav of Messagebatostima. Message postumia, lentring out his borrowed chafing dish, before cymballoosing the apostles at every hours of changeover. The first and last riddle-rattle of the Anniverse. When is a nam not a nam? When as it is a watch. Heroes' highway where our fleshers leave their bonings, and every Bob and Joan to fill the bumper fare. It is their signal for old Champelyside to seek the shades of his retirement, and for young chappy lassies to tear around and tease their partners' love soft fun at Finnegans wake. And it's high, tightly high, tea. That's my dig breast in your dag, see. Nug of old nig, mig brawly, I bag your burden. Mees is these niece, thee is me. We have caught ourselves, vias meas, in some incongruity complex of heoponherish marriage, from whose I must subluminate. Apolog, my Engel, excutes, still so savvy, while till tea. Ha! Day greening gains in schlimmending.
a summer wind spring vows abated. Hail rain of darkness, slowly receding, lightning thund into the dim below starred departmenti, wither out soon hissed, soon missed, to the hot hail from the hollow, Solsking the Frist, attempted by the admirable captive Bunting and Lieutenant Colonel Blair, will processingly show up above Tumplin Bar, whereupon he was much jubilated by Borge Mr. Dyke, flog of his souls, now lie sold, looking most plussed with Exhibit 39, a clout-capped sun bubble, and accompanied from his big quine torse up. Blanchard's down, newspapers, pleads copper, grace's goodness, have mercy upon us. Grand old man Bunting, give your bowlers a rest. It is a mere mannerism of this vague of visibilities, mark you, as accorded to by moisturologists of the Brahen's Association for the Advancement of Science, because, my dear, mentioning of it under the breath as in pure, what bunkum, SNS, there have been the selving fornenst you just the draper, the 2 droppers as sisters, and the 3 troopers assessors confraternizers, who are, of course, Uncle Arth, your 2 causes from Nice, and, conject a bit now, our own familiars, Billy Healy, Ballyhooly, and Bully Howley, surprised in an indecorous position by the Sigurds in Swimamanometer Society for blood pressures. Nights more, haven't I? Ha ha! This, Mr. Ireland, and a live. Aye, bass! The cry of Stena chills the vitals of slumbering off the mother, has been pleased into the harms of the solicitors, measurers soon and soon. But the voice of Alina gladdens the cackle-hearted dreamerish for that magic moaning with its ching-chang chaps agay, cow-low, milky, moochy, bringing pecker bros, the brew with the future in it. Sawest? Not? Niet, I think I sound to remum or some such. A kind of a thing like all tray-logged and probably it resembles a pelvic or some kind, then props an acute-backed quadrangle with a slant off, Hannah Hent and the wench a cuddler, lying with her royal Irish upper shoes among the thick leaves. Signs are on a mere token that will still to be becoming upon this here once a here was world, as the day lies unfolding them, in the wake of the black shape that intend sort. When at Hindled Firth and Hundled Firth, the week of the wakes is out and over as a week walking from innumerable Asias unto fierce force fuming. Tem, tam, the Phoenician wakes. Passing. 1. We are passing. 2. From sleep we are passing. 3. Into the wide aways world from sleep we are passing. 4. Calm hours, be ours, but still. dire, and stay. It was all so agreeable in our singing ear clutchless, touring the no place like time like absolute, mixing up petty von Papelos with the Mugnamore gentries, luid-haired mercenary brokers with boyd-skinned pigtails, and good-slipped Gwendolines with duffy-eyed Dolores. like so many improbables in their pursuit of the impossible. With mata and after please, with mata more and after please stop, with mata mora luca and after please do please, with mata mora luca Johnny. And another is dapple ass. He will be longing after the Gorgrum Greys. And wise St. Chatowley, he will level out minister tramp pleasure be. Chef flower Rosina, younger chef flower fruit amaryllis, youngest flower fruity frond Sally Sill or Silly Sal. And house with heaven roof occupanters, they are continuatingly at traverse of its militestudinous windows, recourcing themselves as stained glass on stone gloss, in plain English winds hotel, Branchards at Bulbeck, Old Booth, Sassendale, Jersey, Uppigard, Munderland, Abbeythorpe, Bracky to eat with Hockeyville, Hillville, and Walhall. Who managers the thing a Viking, opening shortly when the messenger of the risen sun, see other Oriel, shall give to every seeable a hue, and every hearable a cry, and to each spectacle his spot, and to each happening her harem, the while we are waiting for him. Muta, quodus nunc fumaciste, volvens in domionio. Juva, it is old head of kettle puffing off the top of the morning. Muta, he ought to be thoroughly well ashamed of himself for smoking before the high host. Juva, Dies is dormimus, master, and commandant illi tonabras. Muta, Diminus aster, and I could perceive amongst the gatherings whoever they woke in process. Juva, Cud Abba, it is the chrysanthemum lander, with his porters of banzos, pom-pommy plonky plonk, the Gary Wallace, movi overing in the cabratal field of slain. Muta, Pango de Banza, and I would assert in Druid for scatterings, one piece tau chap, he stand one piece, same place. Juva, Berkeley, and he is fundamentally theosopher gusted over the war's proceedings. Muta, petrificationibus, O Harold Harafler, who his Dickens now re-erexes from underneath the memory all hollerum. Juva, believe firmly, believe, fing, king, Muta, all over him, fogituri ujus, redonanum teniat, Juva, relentlessly, to the tip of his sieve, and the ubi dentia of the savium is our erlex fanciatus. Muta, why Sally smiles the supremest with such for Leary on the rogular lips. Juva, bitter botchum, ibridime. He has helped his croon on the Berkeley, by he has half his help on the crown, on the Eurasian Generalissimo. Muta, skok salute, the twily varied is thus then paradis cynical. Juta, ut vivat volumen sic periat poradosus. Muta, haven money unstable cert. Juva, tempt to warm outsider. Muta, suck he quaffs what? Juva, sec, water, wet. Muta, ad piabel et purabel. Juva, at win, warmen og sings. Muta, so that when we shall have acquired unification, we shall pass on to diversity,
and when we shall have passed on to diversity, and when we shall have passed on to diversity, we shall have acquired the instinct to combat, and when we shall have acquired the instinct of combat, we shall pass back the spirit of appeasement. Juva, by the light of the bright reason which descends to us from the high. Muta, may I borrow that hard wander baffle from you, old rubber skin?
Juva, here it is. And I hope it's your warping pen, Erin Monker. Shoot! Rhythm and colour at Park Mooting. Parados last in the Grand Natural. Velavision Victor. Dub's new stage old-time turf tussle, recalling Winnie Willer Wager. 2 draws. Heliotrope leads from harem. 3 ties. Jockey the Rapper jerks Jake the Rape. Padrock and Buckley chat. And here are the details. Tunk. By me by, Bullocky Vampus Tampany, Bob's topside Joss Pigeon Fella Balcony, Archdruid of Iceless Chin Joss, in his heptachromatic 7-hued septicoloured roaring yen green lindigin mantle finishy show along the his Mr. Guest Catholic, with all belonging him the whole throat home, with the same time all the his classic groner fellows of Grace Friary family he fast all time. What time all him monk fellows with same Catholic. Quonium speeching, yea, not speeching, no man liberty is. He drink up words, solicit, tomorrow he till will recover, will not. All too many much illusions through photoprismic velamina of youthful panepiphanal world spectacurum of Lord Joss, the of which zoantholytic furniture, from mineral through vegetal to animal, not appear to full up together fallen man, that under but one photo reflection of the several iridals gradations of solar light, that part of it furnished of Hupenepi world, had shown itself part of third of Hupen war, unable to absorb error, whereas for Nompa one paradoxir in 7th degree of wisdom of entis untin he savvy inside through inwardness of reality, the ding vad in itself it is, all objects of panapure. All sides showed themselves in truth's coloribus resplendent, with sextuple gloria of light actually retained. Untincentus inside them orbs of epiwo, remnant Catholic, stereotypopopticus, no catch-all that preachy book optium. Tomorrow recover thing even is not. By me by, vampsy bobsy tap and a bullocks, topside joss pigeon fella bilkily. Say pat the fella one stunt huntes 2 time him out healing. With other words, verbi gratiating, from murmurantus till stridulus hilarious, in a hawing, golly, sing long sing, while his comprehenderant with diminishing claractinism augmentation himself in calorepea to vision so throsity. You anxious melancholic, high that's high duber King Leary, with fiery graspy long head all show color of sorrow wood herb green, again nigger blonker of the his Essex home green worsted costume, the his fellow saffron pettikilt look same hue of boiled spinaches. Other thing voluntary multi-muser he not comprehende, the his golden to breaststork. Look, just some like cold babs. More after to pace negativistists, verdant ready rain roof belong a him ex over high, over King Leary very dead. What he wished to say, spit of super exuberabundancy, plenty laurel leaves. After that commander bullipent eyes of most highest adreets are king. Same thing, like time, choppy upon parsley. Alongside that, if please, sir, not displaced hot home, soul of a bishop pastors, enamel Indian gem, in maledictive finger fondler of high sire sultan, emperor, all same like one fellow olive lentil, on alongside that, by undescenders, kering, violacious war-worn contusions of face butts of high-up big cocky walkie sublimissime autocrat, for that, with purely huglot intensely saturated one, tinged uniformly, all around side up and out down. Very like you, see chow of plenty much senecacia, comps everybody, suck on. Punk. Big seer refracts the petty padre, wackling it out, a tumble to take, tripeness to call thing, and to call, if say, is good while. You poor chiaroscuro, black and white paddyingler, by this wis a posterio prismically apatrosfied, and paralogically periparolized, celestial from principalist to viros, erismans, ruin bone pot before. For being time monk blinkers, time blinged, completem, tarily murk blankered, in their neutralisis between the possible veriditude of the sager and the probable eruption of the saint. As my trop pinquish to me, wipens meself nosgates, a handcot's chief of synthetic chamois rag to him hers, seeming such 4-3-2 agreement cause heart to be might, saving to Baal and Oark, he kneeleth, to great Baal and Oark, he kneeleth down, to greatest great Baal and Oark, he kneeleth down quite simply. The sound sense simple, in a weedy wade world, of the fire there the sun in his halo cast on men. That was thing begotter, the thing bog cotton, the very thing begad. Even to optopotty bilkily, who was for shouting down the shatten on the lamp of Jesus, sweating on to stonker and throw his 7, as he shook his thumping forefeatures at the hoy hop of his ards. Thud. Good safe fire lamp, hailed the Heliots. Gold self for lump. How they howled. where there on the sky flowed high, tramp a tramp a tramp, addy, adai. Per ye com dum dominum non strum. Yea, some priestums, fully home to whom Tawar, sants and sogs, cabs and cobs, kings and carles, tentes and taunts. 'Tis gone in for over, so for now dailish, pour the day, to transfixuration, feast of tabernacles, Cenopegia come, shamwork be in our shining, and let every Chris couple be so cross-complementary little eggins, yolk and milk, in a far bigger pancasmos, with a haughty hamium all round, goods truce. Yet it nobody present here which was not there before, only it order other, naught is knowed, fuit fiat. Lo, the Lord of Laurens now all realizing benedictively when saint and sage have said their say. A space of calyptrous gloom in value crumines, the Perinanthian amenta. Fungoalcius, muscifelical, graminopalmular plantion, of increasing, livivorous, fearful thinkamalink, luxuriationing every whence whithersoever among the skull hollows and charnel cysts of a weed waste wild weevil, when Ralph the retriever ranges to jaw road his nuts knuckles and her theus thighs. One gulp down of the nauseous for air brockfarst, or boom around, and you're as paint and spick-span as a rainbow. Reef the bow to rid the bower, no runcture, no runcure, no rankheat, sir. A mess in a mulium, chlorid cup. Health, chouse, and necessity, a rave, licky puggers in a poke. The fogre of the frightfuls is olympically optimominous. There is bound to be a lovely day for marriages in the open. Murnane and Aveling are undertaken to bury that orchard, provided that. You got to make good that breech suit, Seymour. You going to Holm, Port Holm, Toilmaster? You yet must get up to kill, none particular. You still stand by and do as hit, private. While for yous, Jasmine Aruna, and all your likers, affinitively must it be by you elected, if monogines his is or hers diander, the tubus limbersum and nectario. Onder graze oifer, Ethel or banding, mopsis or gracchus, all your horodities will incessantly be coming back from the anon wish-wash woes, or my Pierre Lodge, Doon of the Drooms, blanches bountifully in nights and made up. Every article lathering, leaving several rinsings, so as each rinse results with a dapperant roll, cuffs for meek and chokers for chic, and a kink in the pacts for Namby. Forbear, for naught that is has been. In morning's land, themes have times and habitry burns, to flame in you, ardor, vigor, forders order, since ancient was our living is impossible to be.
delivered as Kaffirs and culls, and once again overalls. The fittest survival lives that blood yearning creeps. Yearning storage can make them, which is our claims clean, when asked creeps close. And the manor miller clipper clappers noxt doze. Finsons, a warn, tuck up those white shorts. The pink of the basket for sheer give. Peeps, stand up to hardware and step into style. If you soil may quit me prives. For noom and mon are to marge to the merge of an oceans. Inishin once a game. What has gone, how it ends, begin to forget it. I will remember itself from every sides, with all gestures in each our word. Today's truth, tomorrow's trend. Forget, remember, have we cherished expectations? Are we for liberty of perusiveness? Why after, what for where? A plain planned Liffyism, assemblement, Seblania's conglomerate horde, by dim delti deva, forget. Our homo, mill-wheeling, vico cyclometer, a tetradominational gazabocrocticon, the mammaluja known to every schoolboy scandaler, be he Matty, Marky, Lukey, or Jonadunk, autokinetonetically pre-provided with a clapper coupling smelting works ex-progressive process, for the farmer, his son, and their homely codes, known as egg burst, egg blend, egg burial, and hatch as hatch can, receives through a portal vein the dialectically separated elements of precedent decomposition for the very petty purpose of subsequent recombination, so that the eroticisms, catastrophes, and eccentricities transmitted by the ancient legacy of the past, type to by tope, letter for letter, word at word, with sendence of Sundance, since the days of Plony and Columcellas, when Giacinta, Proventia, and Margaret swayed over the awe to ghoulish and illyrical and romantic in our mutter nation. Awe, anastomosically assimilated and preteridentified, para-idiotically, in fact, the same mode, game board, atomic structure of our Phineas the Old One, as highly charged with electrons as haphazards can effective it, may be there for you, cacalura lura menos, when cup, platter, and pot come piping hot, as sure as herself pits hen to paper, and their scribing scrawled on eggs. Of course so, and in fact as. Dear. And we go on to dirt dump. Reverend. May we add majesty? Well, we have frankly enjoyed more than anything these secret workings of nature's. Thanks ever for it, we humbly pray. And, well, was really so denighted of this light's time. Muck's rats, which bring up about Urweckers, they will come to no good. Yon clouds will soon disappear, looking forwards at a fine day. The Honourable Master Starman, they should be firstborn like he was, with the two-hangled warping, and it was between Williamstown and the Mary in Aylesbury, on the top of the long car. As merrily we rode along, we think of him looking at us yet, as if to pass away in a cloud. When he woke up in a sweat beside us, it was to pardon him, Goldilocks, me having an earth. But he daydreams we had a love-lit face for a pantomime. Back we were by the jerk of a beanstalk, backed in Palladies last. On the brinks of the Wobblish, the man that never put a dram in the swags but milk from a national cows. That was the prick of the spindle to me that gave me the keys to dreamland. Sneakers on the grass, keep off. If we were to tick off all that Kaffir's head, whisperers for his accommodation, the mee-craws, namely, and their bacon what harmed butter. It's margarine oil, thin, 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 thin. Strictly it is forbidden by the honorary 10th commandment, to shall not bear full sweetness against a neighbour's wiles. What those slimes up the cavern door around you, keening? The lies is coming out on them frecklefully. Had the shames to suggest, can we ever? Never. So may the low forget him their trespasses against Molloyd O'Reilly, that Huggleberry fan, now about to get up, the heartiest that Colac ever, a naught in naught, Iron Englishman called Ervigson by his first mate. May all similar doubters of our old hame story have that fancied windmig. For a pipe of twist or a slug of Hibernian metal we could let out, and by jings someone would make a carpus of somebody with the greatest of pleasure by private shootings. And in contravention to the constancy of chemical combinations, not enough of all the slatters of him left for Peter the picker, to make the three seventy filths of a man out of. Good wheat, how delicious for the 3 solvents of Dulcie, and what a spell price get the 2 Paris of Moonachina. Sugars of lead for Chloris Ashpots. Peace, he possessing from a child of highest valency, for our privileged beholdings, ever complete hairy of chest, hamps and eye bags, in pursuance to Sal's lady's affectionate company, his rail devotes. Wriggling reptiles, and take notice, whereas we exhaust all such sprinkling snigs. They are prostituting the whole time, neverwithstanding we simply agree upon a committee of amusance. Or could above bring under same notice for it to be able to be seen. About that co-oregano Hun and his knowing the size of an egg cup. First he was a spokesman at one time, and then Clunes fired him through Gough. Be sage about sausages. Statistics shows, with his hiccups of tea tables, the old firm fat spitters are most eatenly appreciated by Metropolitans. While we should like to drag attentions to our workmen's compensation act. The magnets of our midst being foisted upon by the plethorous of parachutes, did speech permit the bad example of setting before the military, to the best of our belief, in the earliest wish of the one in mind, was the mitigation of the king's evils, and how he stared up the step after it's the power of the gate, his giant stand of man you known. No brad wishy-washy wath he wanted neither. Once you are ballad proof, you are unperceivable to Harley, icy and mistletoes. Order now before we reach Rugger's Rush, as we now must close hoping to St. Lawrence all in the best. Moral, Mrs. Storrs Humphreys. So you are expecting trouble, Pondups, from the domestic service questioned? Mr. Storrs Humphreys. Just as there is a good in even, Livia. My cheek is a complete blink. Plum, meaning 1, 2, 4 fingers up the hind hose of hisers, whereupon our best again to 111 plus 1,001 other blessings will now conclude those apostles to our great kindest well for all that trouble to took. We are all at home in old Fintona, thanks Dennis, for ourselves' sake. That direst of house bonds, woo wheel to true unto love sends, so long as we has a pockle full of brass. Impossible to remember persons, and improbable to forget position places. Who would pellow his head off to conjure up particularly mean stinker like Fun Mick, called Foon Mick, Raw Brothers, mystery man of the pork martyrs, Force and Giddersh, Tomothy and Lorkin, the bucket toolers, both are Timpsons. Now they've changed their caricatures during their blackout. Conan Boyles will pudge the day lives out through him, if they are correctly informed. Music, meowed Strow, please. We'll have a brand rehearsal. Fing! One must simply laugh. Fing him egging. Good licks. Well, this ought to weak him to make up. He'll want all his fury gut murderers to redress him. Gilly in the gap, the big bad old sprowly all uttering foon. How now, stuffed last potting, his funeral was sneak police by creeps o'clock Tuesday. Kingen will come and also brew beer. Penn's picture at Mansham House, horse garden shown in Morning Post as from Boston transcript. Females will be preadamant as from 28 to 12. To hear that love-laid parson of case of a bald gentlemale pour forth her miracles. Don't forget, the grand funeral will now shortly occur. Remember, the remains must be removed before 8 hours sharp, with earnestly conceived hopes. So help us to witness to this day to hand in sleep. From Maius days most dutios. Well, here's lettering you anonymously anent other clerical fans, alleged herewith. I wished I was be that dumb tyke, and he'd wished it was me yonter heel. How about it? The sweetest song in the world? Our shape as a juvenile being much admired from the first with native copper locks. Referring to the Married Woman's Improperty Act, a correspondent paints out that the Swee's auburn vogue is hanging down straight, fitting to her innocent eyes. Oh, Felicius Culpos, if all the Macraws would only handle Virgils like Armsworks Limited. That's Hansel for Gertles. Never mind Mickelmans. Chat us instead. The cad with the Pope's wife, Lily Kinsella, who became the wife of Mr. Sneakers for her good name in the hands of the kissing solicitor, will now engage in attentions. Just a preach for tonight. Pale bellies our mild cure, back in streaky 9-pace. The thick soft bully's acre was got up by Sully, the Boot Lane Brigade, and she had a certain medicine brought her in a licensed victualler's bottle. Shame, thrice shame. We are advised the Waxy is at the present in the Sweeps Hospital, and that he may never come out. Only look through the leather box one day with PCQ about 432, or at 8 and 22.5, with the court of Sician's masters and clerk and the bevy hum of merry reparatrices, for a good all-round sympowderic's purge, full view. To be surprised to see under the grand piano Lily on the sofa, and a lady pulling a low, with then he'd begin to jump a little bit to find out what goes on when love walks in beside the solicitous busness by kicking and looking into a mirror. That we were treated not very grand when the police and everybody is all bowing to us when we all go out in all directions on Wanterland Road with a car Cubarola glide. And personably speaking, they can make their bow to my house, as Hilary Allen sang to the opening nighters. Item, We never were chained to a chair in Bytum. No widower's whathersoever followed us about with a fork on Yank-skilling day. Meet a great civilian, proud lives to him, who is gentle as a mushroom, and a very affectable when he's always sits fornenst us for his wet while to all whom it may concern. Sully is a thug. From all he drunk, though he is a rattling fine bootmaker in his profession. Would he were here, Arthur, to lodge our complaint on Sergeant Larceny, in consequence of which in such steps taken his health would be constantly broken into potter's pants, which would be the change of his life, by a Nowelshian, which has been oxbelled out of Christianity. Well, our talks are coming to be resumed by more polite conversation with a huntered present human over the natural beastness of pleasure, after his good few mugs of humbadum and shag. While for whoever likes that oregano pan of cakes, one apiece, it is thanks be loved to Adam, our former first finlater, and our grocerist churcher, as per Griffith's valuations for his beautiful Christmas parcel. Well, we simply like them cheeks, the Rathgarries, wagging here about around the rhythms in me amphibed, and he being as bothered that he possibly could buy the fouth of Humpty Damp. Certified reformed peoples, we may add to this stage, are profitably saying to quite agreeable deef, here gives your answer, pigs and scuts. Hence we've lived in two worlds. He is another, he what stays under the hemp of Hoth. The here-waker of our hame fame is his real name same, who will get himself up and erect, confident and heroic, when but young as of old, for my daily confessional, a wee one woos. Almaluvia, Pola Bella. P.S. Soldier Roller's sweetheart, and she's about fetted up now with nonsury reams, and rigs out in regal rooms with the ritzies, rags, warns out, but she's still our decumin amber too. Soft morning, city, lisp, I am Leafy speaking, lip, faulty and faulty all the nights have failed on too long my hair. Not a sound falling, lisping, no wind, no word, only a leaf, just a leaf, and then leaves. The woods are fond always, as were we their babes in, and robins in Crusoe. It is for me good and wending, unless away. Rise up, man of the hoots, you have slept so long. Or is it only so me sleems? On your pondered palm, reclined from cape to peed, with pipe on bowl, thirst for a fiddler, sixth for Mac Merries, none for a coal. Rise up now in the roos, Norvina's over. I am Leafy, your golden, so you called me, may me life. Yea, your golden, silve me salve, exaggerator. You did so drool, I was so charmed. But there's a great poet in you too. Stout Stokes would take you awfully. He has bored me to slump, but am good and rested. Tax to you, Toddy Tanye. Yaw, help unto min, help us vin. Here is your shirt, the day one, come back. The stock, your collar, also your double brogues, a comforter as well. And here your ivorole, and ever the last your umber. And stand up tall, straight, I want to see you looking fine for me, with your brand new big green belt and all, blooming in the very lotus and second to nil bud. When you're in the Buckley sweet roast and Sharonals near did for you. 57 and 3 cosh with the bulge, Proud purse Albie with his poor Aroon Irene there. Pride, covetousness, envy. You make me think of a wonder decker I once, or somebody that sailder, the man me gallant with the bangled ears, or an earl was he at Lucan, or no, it's the Iron Dukes I mean, or some briars from the dark countries. Come and let us, we always said we'd, and go abroad. Rathgrainy way, perhaps. The child are still fast. There is no school today. Them boys is so contrary. The head does be worrying himself. He'll trouble and he'll travel. Gallover and Gallover, unless they changes by mistake. I seen the likes in the twinkling of an eye. Some so oft, sim, time after time, the same as new. Two bredder as doffered as nors in sound. When one of him sighs or one of him cries, 'tis you all over. No peace at all. Maybe it's those two old crony aunts held them out to the waterfront. Queer Mrs. Quickenoff and odd Mrs. Dodpebble. And when them two has gone had a view, there isn't much more dirty clothes to publish. From the Laundersdale Minchins. One chap googling the holy boy's thingabib, and this lad wedding his widdle. You were pleased as Punch, recitating war exploits and persorations to them jacking gapers. But that night after, you were wanton, bidding me do this and that and the other, and blowing off to me ugly Judases. What wouldn't you give to have a girl? Your wish was me will, and lo, out of a sky, the way I too, but her, you wait, eager to choose is left to her shade. If she had only more matcher's wit, findlings makes runaways, runaways astray. She's as merry as the Grick still. 'Twould be sore should let in sorrow. I'll wait, and I'll wait. And then if all goes, what will be is, but let them. Slops hospotch in the slotsky slot too. He's for thee, what's he's for me, dogging you round Covenhaven and teaching me the parts of speech. If you spun your yarns to him on the swishbark waves, I was spelling my yearns to her over cottage cake. We'll not disturb their sleeping duties. Let besoms be bosuns, it's Phoenix, dear, and the flame is here. Let our journey Santa Michael make it, since the loss of fire has lost, and the book of the depth is closed. Come, step out of your shell. Hold up, you free thing. Yes, we've light enough. I won't take our laddie's lantern, for them 4 old windbags of gust so fairy to be blowing at, nor you your rock sunk, to bring all the Dannymans out after you on the hike. Send Arctur Giddis, Isma Sift. It is the softest morning that ever I can ever remember me, but she won't rain showerly, our Ilma, yet, until it's the time, and me and you have made the sons of bursters won in the games. Still I'll take me Auld Finvara for my shoulders. The trout will be so fine at Brookfished, with a taste of roly-poly from blug puddles after, to bring out the tang of the tay. Is it you fain for a roast brood? Ox meal turned, out of all the woolpaws, and then all the chippy young cupping jars cluttering round us, clattering for their creams, crying, me grown-up sister, are me not truly list? Only but There's a but. You must buy me a fine new girdle too, Nolly, when next you go to Market Norwal. They're all saying I need it since the one from Isaacson slooped its line. Murk, fey art thou? Come, give me your great bear's paw, patter of ilky, fall of a miny tiny, dola, my ninety handsy in the languo of flowers. That's Jorgen Jorgensen, but you understood not. I always know by your brights and shades. Reach down a little more, so. Draw back your glaive. Hot and hairy Hogan is your hand. Here's where the foul skin begins, smooth as an infam's. One time you told me you'd been burnt in ice, and one time it was the chemical after you take a lifeness. Maybe that's why you hold your heart as if, and people thinks you miss the scaffold of feral design. I'll close my eyes so not to see, or see only a youth in his florizel, a boy in innocence peeling a twig, a child beside a weeny white steed, the child we all love to place our hope in forever. All men has done something, be the time they've come to the weight of old flesh. We'll leave it so. We'll take our walk before in the temple they ring the earthly bells, in the church by the hearse-yard, Pax Goodman's will, where the birds start their tree-sturm shindy. Look, there are yours off high on high, and Cushy, sweet good luck, they're calling you cool. You see they're as white as the riven snae. For us, next Peter's poll, you will be elected, or I'm not your illicitous bribe. The Kinsella woman's man will never reduce me. A McGareth the collar, o Mirk McFuney, sook a doodling and sweep a cheeping round the lodge of Fionn na Gala of the trumpets. It's like potting the Poe to sham on the dresser, or tamming Uncle Tim's cobbeen on to the brows of a vicar eagle. Not such big strides, huddy-fuddy. You'll crush me antelopes I saved so long for. They're penny soles, and the two goodiest shoes. It's the hardly at nuts mile or 7 possum bots. It is very good for the health of a morning, with boa, a gentle motion all around, as leisure paces, and the help yourself to stroke cures easy. It seems so long since, ages since, as if you had been long far away, afar todays, a fear tonights, and me as with you in the dark. You will tell me sometime if I can believe it's all. You know where I am bringing you. You remember when I ran burying after hawks and haws, with you drawing our great aims to hazel me from the hummock with your sling, our cries, I could lead you there, and I still by you in bed. Less to dutk to dan grieven, nos, not a soul but ourselves. Time, we have loads on our hangs, till Gilligan and Halligan call again to Hooligan, and the rest of the guns sulliganate from left to right, all a bobo, ye foxy thieves. The Moskers thought to bawl you out, or the wild unicorn's master, boogly captain from the knoll, draws up by the door with the Honourable Wilp and the Reverend Pointer and the 2 Lady Pagets of Dallyhoch, Ballyhuntus in their riddle-tight raiding hats, for the lift of a here's health to the robust, the stag, ever's the Carlton heart, and you needn't host out with your duck and your duty capapole, while they reach him the glass he never starts to finish. Clap this whist on your pole and stick this in your ear, Wiggly. Beauties don't answer and the rich never pays. If you were the enlarged, they'd hue and cry you. Heathtown, Harbourstown, Snowtown, Fourknox, Flemingtown, Boddingtown, to the ford of Fine on Devlin. How they house to house you after their platonic garlands, and all because, loosed in her reflexes, she seen Eddie Coricom handsome, with his 3 poached dogs a-leashing him. But you came safe through. Enough of that Horner corner, an old mother gossip. We might call on the old lord. What do you say? There's something tells me he is a fine sport. Like the score and a mighty went before him. And a proper old promontory, his door always open for a new heiress day. Much as your own is. You invited him last Easter, so he ought to give us hot cockles and everything. Remember to take off your white hat, when we come into the presence, and say, Hu ith mathisti, his is house of laws, and I'll drop my graciest curtsy too. If the Ming tongue no go bow to may homage cow bow tao to the Mong tongue. Ceremonialness to stand lowest place be, saying, What'll you take to link to light the pike on Porpoise Place? He might knight you in armour, else will daub you the first cheap madge your strape. Remember Bom Thomum you Vim Vam Vom Hum Gerig, hot form chain and epaulets, both are bombos, and I'll be your Aurelinus, but we vain, plain fancies. It's in the castle's air, my current bread's full of silly mottcraft. Aloof is a moof, we can take or leave. He's reading his roughs, you'll know our way from there surely. Flora's way, where once we led so many car couples have follied since. Klatschka, giving Shaughnessy's mare the hilly mount of her life, with her stroll to burgers, the rollicky road a-dondering. We can sit us down on the heathery ben, me on you, in qualm unconscience, to scan the arising. Out of Drumleek, it was there Avora told me I had best, if I ever, when the moon of morning is set and gone, over Glenaduna, Lawn Anula, ourselves, our souls alone, at the sight of Salvosian, and watch with the letter your wanting becoming may be, and cast ashore. That I praise for be mains of me dreams, scratching it and patching it with the prompt for the primer. And what scripts of Nought's knowledges I pecked up myself. Every letter is a hard, but yours is sure as the hardest crux ever. Hack and axe, hook and ox, hath and an, heth, hith, enses. But once done, dealt and delivered, tat-tat, you're on the map. Raised on traum scrapped from mast and boss, after rounding his world of ancient days, carried in a caddy or screwed and corked, on his muggish toast surface, with a bob Buttleby. Blob. When the waves give up yours, the soil may for me. Sometime then, somewhere there, I wrote me hopes and buried the page when I heard thy voice, ruddery dunner, so loud that none but, and left it to lie till a Christmas coming. So content me now, Unbuild and be build in our bank-alone cottage there, and we'll cohabit respectable. The Gowans said, for Madam me, with a cute booble run tower for to pip up and go peep where the stairs be, just to see would we hear how Jove and the peers talk. Amid the sullenness, till top, big master, scale the summit, you're not so giddy any more. All your grand plotting and the little it brought, humps when you heised us and dumps when you doused us. But Sarah, one of me cares a brambling ram, pomp portiarch. On limpety marge I've made me home, park and a pub for me. Only don't start your stunts of Donaghy's years ago again. I could guess to her name who took you that one, tough nut. Bold be backwards for the loves of Sinfintins, before the naked universe. And the bell be pleased, marm, rinsing his eye. One of these fine days, Ludi colour, you must read a form again. Blessed shield, Martin, softly so. I am so exquisitely pleased about the loveliest dress I have. You will always call me leafiest, won't you, darling? Wonderful, old boy. And you won't adjunct to me perfume, oiled of cologne, with a spot of maraschy. Some it alpine smile from yester's late Easters. I am in every wind's nester's rose, even in house snows. Meteors goldagnes, a style of a stone. Grand old marauder, if I knew who you are, when that hark from the air said it was Captain Finson makes cumherments, and was mate pressing for his suit, I said, are you there? Here's nobody here, only me. But I near fell off the pile of samples, and if your tinger wing ting to hear me. Is that right, what your brother Milk and Braby's telling the district you were bragged up by Borstal? Because your parents would be always tumbling into his foul place, and losing their Pentecosts after drinking their pledges? Howsome endeavour, you done me fine. The only man was ever known could eat the crusts of lobsters. Our native night when you twice took me for some Marion sherry, and then your German cousin who signs hers with X's and the beard wig I found on your Clarkson bag. Ferops, you'll play you're the king of A-ships. You certainly make the most royal of noises. I will tell you all sorts of make-up things, strangers, and show you to every simple story place we pass. Cadmiller's Folly, Bellevenue, Welcome, Quid Superabit, Vilities, Vanities. Change the plates for the next course of Murphy's. Spend love still there, and the cannon's going strong. And so is Claffey's habits undertaking, and our parish pomps a great warrant. But you'll have to ask that same four that named them is always snugging in your bow saloon, saying they're the best relics of Conall O'Daniel, writing fingless since the flood. That'll be some kingly work in progress. But it's by this route he'll come some morrow, and I can signal you all flint and fern are wrastlings as we go by. And you'll sing thumb a bit and then wise your Selman on it. It is all so often and still the same to me. Only turf, Wick dear, plain turf. You've never forgotten bat on turf, have you? At Brian Burrow, what, Mitch? Why, them's the mushrooms come up during the night. Look, agres of roofs and parishes, dumb and dam, dim and dime, and the capital parts for Olympics to play at. Steady on, Colossus, mind your stride or you'll knock. While I'm dodging the dustbins, look what I found, a lintel pea. And look at here, this caraway seed. Pretty mites, my sweet things, was they poor loves abandoned by whole the widey world? Nay, bullets for Newtown. Eblina magna, you be hazel-held lumining up out of the dumbliness. But the still Samasita, I've lapped so long, as you said, it fair takes. I lose my breath for a minute or two, don't speak, remember. Once it happened, so it may again. Why, I'm all these years within years in suffering, all believed, to hide away the tear, the parted. It's thinking of all, the brave that gave there, the fair that wore, all them that's gone. I'll begin again in a jiffy, the nick of an ad. How glad you'll be I waked you, my, how well you'll feel forever after. First we turn by the vagrin, here and then it's gooder. So side by side turn agate, wedding town, loud men of Londub. I only hope ho the heaven sees us, for I feel I could near to faint away into the deeps, Anamore's leap. Let me lean, just a lee, if you lay, bowed strong big tighter. All girls is we, at times, so, while you're adamant ever, worps, that wind is out of nowhere, as on the night of the Apophanips, shoots, throbs into me mouth like a bow and arrows. Lord good of the lashlands, how he whips me cheeks. See, here where, reach island bridge, where you meet I, the day, remember, why there the moment and us two only. I was but teen, a tailor's dot. The swanky suits was boosting always, sure to him. He was like to me fad, but the swaggerest swell off shock wool strut, and the fiercest freaky ever followed a pining child round the sloppery table with a forkful of fat. But the king of whistlers, Seol, when he'd prop me Atlas against his goose and light our 2 candles for our singer's doors on the sewing machine, I'm sure he squirted juice in his eyes to make them flash for frightening me. Still in all, he was awful fond to me. Who'll search for find me colours now on the hilly droops of Wicklow fells? But I read in To Be Continu's tale that while bluebells blows there'll still be silskers. There'll be others but none so for me. Yet he never knew we seen us before, night after night, so that I longed to go to, and still withal. One time you'd stand forninst me, fairly laughing in your bark and tan billows of branches for to fan me coolly, and I'd lie quiet as a moss. And one time you'd rush upon me, darkly roaring like a great black shadow, with a sheeny stare to purse me rawly, and I'd frozen up and pray for thaw, 3 times in all. I was the pet of everyone then, a principal girl, and you were the panty mammy's voking coarser goth, the envision of Indoland, and, by Thoror, you looked it. My lips went livid for from the joy of fear, like almost now, How you said how you'd give me the keys of me heart, and we'd be married till death do us part. And though death do us part, oh mine, only know, now it's me who's got to give, as dove herself div, in this lin. And can it be it's now for well? Eras, I wished I had better glances to peer to you through this baylight's growing. But you're changing, Akulsha. You're changing from me, I can feel. Or is it me, I'm getting mixed, brightening up and tightening down. Yes, you're changing, son husband, and you're turning. I can feel you, for a daughter wife from the hills again, Imla Maya, and she is coming, swimming in my hind moist, divil taking on me tail, just a whisk, brisk, sly, spry, spink, spank, sprint of a thing, there somewhere, saltering, Saltarella come to her own. I pity your old self I was used to. Now a younger's there. Try not to part. Be happy, dear ones. May I be wrong, for she'll be sweet for you as I was sweet when I came down out of me mother. My great blue bedroom, the air so quiet, scarce a cloud, in peace and silence. I could have stayed up there for always, only it's something fails us. First we feel, then we fall. And let her reign now if she likes, gently or strongly, as she likes. Anyway, let her reign, for my time is come. I done me best when I was let, thinking always if I go, all goes. 100 cares, a tithe of troubles, and is there one who understands me? 1 in 1,000 of years of the nights. All me life I have been lived among them, but now they are becoming loath to me. And I am loathing their little warm tricks, and loathing their mean cozy turns, and all the greedy gushes out through their small souls, and all the lazy leaks down over their brash bodies. How small it's all, and me letting on to meself always, and lilting on all the time. I thought you were all glittering with the noblest of carriage. You're only a bumpkin. I thought you the great in all things, in guilt and in glory. You're but a puny. Home, my people were not their sort, out beyond there, so far as I can. For all the bold and bad and bleary they are blamed, the sea hags. No, nor for all our wild dances and all their wild din. I can see meself among them, all in Neovia poke rebelled. How she was handsome, the wild Amasia, when she would seize to my other breast. And what is she weird, haughty Neluna, that she will snatch from my ownest hair? For 'tis they are the stormies, ho hang, hang ho, and the clash of our cries till we spring to be free. Aravos, they says, never heed of your name, but I am loathing them that's here in all I loathe, lonely in my loneness, for all their faults. I am passing out. Oh, bitter ending, I'll slip away before they're up. They'll never see, nor know, nor miss me. And it's old and old, it's sad and old. And it's sad and weary I go back to you, my cold father, my cold mad father, my cold mad fiery father, till the near sight of the mere size of him, the moils and moils of it, moan and owning, makes me see silt salt silk sick, and I rush my only, into your arms. I see them rising. Save me from those terrible prongs. Two more, 1, 2 morements more. So, Avalavel, my leaves have drifted from me. All but one clings still. I'll bear it on me to remind me of Liff. So soft this morning hours. Yes, carry me along, Taddy, like you done through the toy fair. If I seen him bearing down on me now under white spread wings, like he'd come from archangels, I think I'd die down over his feet, humbly dumbly, only to wash up. Yes, tid. There's where, first, we pass through grass be hush the bush to wish a gauze, far calls, coming far, end here, us then, Finn again, take, but softly, memor me, till thousands and the lips, the keys to, given, away alone, a last